I like Iron Man. I remember when a friend of mine, when I grew up in Pressbury, just outside of Aurora, his name was Scott Von Hoff, and his brother Ross and Scott and I, we used to play in their basement with Superhero, the dolls, the action figures. The action figures, yeah. Dolls. I'd somehow always slip a Barbie in there. She's gonna be the girlfriend! But I didn't have a question. Anyway, Barbie and Thor got along really well. I like superheroes. I love that idea, and I think that's why a lot of us like, as children and as we grow up, we enjoy superheroes because it's an escape. It's something that takes us to a reality in a world that actually is not real, but boy is it a fun one, boy is it a great one, and it's a great fantasy world to be a part of. So, I could tell you the reasons why I like each one of them, but it would go on forever, but those are my favorites. And Scott and I have just been, Scott was never into superheroes in that way before he met me, but now he wears the shirts all the time. We've just been and bought a bunch, so I'm a geek like everybody else.
Thank you. Your new book, Hollow World, right?
Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth.
Great.
Will you be doing the audio novel of it?
I've already done it.
You've already done it?
Yes. And it's the full version of the book.
That's awesome. But would you be able to come home and read it to me?
Would you mind?
My wife won't mind.
You're both okay. A modern family. Sorry, honey. We'll talk later. Thank you, though. Thank you. In the back.
Hi, John.
Hi.
How did you get your part in The Producers?
I was doing Anything Goes in the West End, the revival the second time around, and the whole production team came over and they saw it at the National Theatre, and they approached me afterwards and they said, we'd love for you to be in the movie. Susan Stroman, who directed it and also was the choreographer of many other shows, she knew my work, and basically that's how it happened. And there I was in the Producers, so that was how it happened, really. But it was really, really good, and I was a blonde, and they do have a lot more fun. Yeah, that's all I'll say. I remember walking down, I told Scott, I said I was walking down in New York, I'd walk down the street and I didn't know at that time whether people would recognize me from my Broadway days or whatever, but a lot of people were looking at me. So I put the gray hair and I put the big blue contacts in that they gave me, and I walked down the street and I was the big blonde gay. It's good. Yes, front.
Hi, this is the most obscure fangirliest question.
No, it's not. Believe me.
But we'll see.
The things I've seen and heard.
Okay, on your first Broadway album, the first time I bought it, it was scratched.
On the first?
The Broadway album?
Yes.
That has Sunset Boulevard on it?
Yes.
The first one I bought was scratched, so I had to buy another one. So I kept the scratched one in my car for John Barrowman emergencies if I didn't have my iPod.
We love that.
Yeah. So I didn't listen to it very often, so it took me almost 2 years to find out that there is an Easter egg on that.
There is?
Yes, and I can't find anything online or in your books about it, so I would wonder if you would talk about that song and why you kind of hid it and didn't put it on later versions of the album.
That's Nothing Gonna Harm You, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I did Nothing's Gonna Harm You Sondheim with my mother. And it is an Easter egg, and if you let the album, if you let the DVD, the disc play on, or if it was vinyl, which I don't think it was,
No.
I think it's 60.2 seconds.
It's 6 minutes, I think.
Is it 6 minutes?
Yeah, and then it starts to play.
Yeah, and it's another song, and it's my mother singing Nothing's Gonna Harm You, and I'm singing it to her. I just wanted to do it. It was my friend Beverly, who is from Joliet, was one of my mentors in music, Beverly Holt. She played on the album. She played the piano and the keyboards on it. So, and I'm very much into giving back and into doing things for people who have helped me along the way. And so I wanted to do that for both, my mom and for Bev. My mother wanted to be a singer when she was younger, and my mother had a beautiful voice. but my mother growing up during the war, it was more important for them to have a bomb shelter in their back garden in Glasgow than it was to go to stage school. So she always vowed, as did my dad, with any of the children, if they were ever musically inclined, they would support them rather than hinder them. Or tell them they can't do that, it's not a good way to go. They were completely diverse with all of us. So that's why I did it. And if you go online, she has sung in some of my concerts. And she sang at every one of our weddings, that my brother and sister and I, when we've all got hitched, she sang. And so that's why I do it.
Why did you hide it? I mean, why does it?
I didn't hide it.
Not on later
No,
versions?
I didn't hide it. It's sometimes it's fun to do Easter. You know about Easter eggs yourselves. That's why you do them, because it's taken 15 years since the album was done that someone has talked about it, and some people are just discovering it. That's what's great about it. I didn't put it on later albums, and also because the producer at the time, who was a bit of a jerk, I wanted to put it on as a main track, but he didn't. And so at that time, because I wasn't as, shall we say, strong in my career and able to tell people what I wanted, I had to let it be done that way. So there you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. In the back.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Could I call you John?
You can call me whatever you like.
You can call me Sweetie. Okay, so a couple... You're welcome. So a couple years ago, you filmed a documentary with the BBC here in Chicago about your sexuality, your family, and part of it at Northwestern.
Correct.
As well. So my question is, would you and Scott be open to a double date with me and my boyfriend?
I will have to leave that up to my partner, Scott, to decide. You know what, send us pictures. Where in the program did it say about us wanting to do double dates? I don't remember that. No, that's very, very nice, very kind of you, but I never say no to anything.
See you later. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. It's a nice coat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry,
That's all right. We got a time commitment here.
what was your favorite prop, either from Torchwood or Doctor Who, and did you get to keep your coat?
I do have my own coat, but I had it made because they made about 6 or 7 of them per series because we trashed some. We always had one which was called the hero coat. I have one of the hero coats. It cost a lot of money because they were handmade and they were a specific length because this is the technical end of it. They had to be a certain length and so they could billow in the wind. And also...
The flappy quality is hard to get.
Yeah, the flappy quality is very hard to get. Although sometimes if you have a flappy quality, you should see a doctor. So it had to be a certain weight, it had to be weight in the bottom, it had to also be able to, so that we could run in it, because many a time David and I bit the dust in our coats running because our heels got caught in them. So I do have a coat, and I do wear it around the house, as Scott knows, vacuuming sometimes. He's disappeared. I also, one of the props that I have the very first squareness gun from Empty Child. So I do have that, and then I have a replica of it that was a much, another version that was done. So I have lots of stuff, and lots of it was acquired. One of my favorites is a book that was on Jack's desk in Torchwood in the hub. And I always referred to it, and if you go back and look, you'll see this book. I put it into different scenes, and it was a 1950s sci-fi book, and it had a fabulous cover on it. And it sat there on my desk, and in the drawer, and when I had to do something, I would play with this book. So when the hub was being destroyed, I took that book. So I have it with me. Not here, anyway. Sorry? Scavengers in Space. That's the book. That's it. Well, good you know that. I love you. There's an Easter egg. First I thought she said Pigs in Space. I'm like, no, it's not that book. I fit it down at the end. Thank you.
In your entire career, what's your favorite moment or experience?
I usually really don't answer those questions. It's like people saying, what do you enjoy most doing? Because I am truly grateful for all of those moments. I'm truly grateful for where I am today. I mean, I have to say this because I don't know if I'll get a chance later, but I have to say thank you to every one of you because you have allowed me and given me the life that I have always dreamed of as a child. I always wanted to have an action figure. I always wanted to be a hero. And you've also given me a life that I didn't dream I would ever get. So, first of all, that's a thank you. So all those moments in my career, and I'm yet to have many, many more, I do, Scott will, be the first one to tell you this, I relish in all of it. That's why I was saying to the guys earlier, walking on the floor, I do not mind walking on the floor and people saying hello and doing things like that. It's truly a thrill for me, and it's a gift. So yeah, there's so many moments. I mean, I'll probably write a book one day and I'll call it My Magic Moments. It'll be good. Yes.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I've never done this kind of thing before.
Neither have I. Actually, this is my first. I've always done panels with other people. This is, I think, my first solo panel. In America.
I know this is Doctor Who and Torchwood obviously has such a huge fan base. I was wondering what aspects in the show do you think make up, like why do you have this many fans?
Well, I think that's an easy answer for me because our shows such as Torchwood and Doctor Who, we represent people who actually are out there. And I can say this more so for Torchwood because Torchwood is my show. And I speak confidently about that. The people that were involved in Torchwood, starting from the beginning and working all the way through, they absolutely represented people who are out in the real world. Our relationships represented actual relationships that were actually going on. Although our stories were a heightened reality, we tackled situations and dealt with things that actually were dealt with in shows, and that's the beauty of sci-fi. We deal with things that other shows are afraid to touch. So I think that's why people and audiences connected with them. And, again, that's my answer, but if it's not the right answer, if there's a formula, I want to bottle it and I want to be a gazillionaire. And then I'll share the wealth with everybody. Because God knows the banks don't need it. But in the back.